Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Hades 2, and last time we had another successful run going down. However, had some interesting developments in that last conversation with Zagreus. Is Melinoe actually the bad guy? I don't know. It seems like there's been a little bit of build-up in and around that in some of the previous runs, although it felt almost like that was an accident then. The previous run, though, that one went much further in that direction, so we'll have to see if there's more of that stuff to come. That is the plan this time around, is to once again go down and hopefully get ever closer to reaching the new true ending, which we are getting very close to doing. The bonus bones weapon would be the black coat, and we did recently use this to get the last of the duo hexes for prophecy completion purposes. Say that 5 times fast. But if we are to take it again here, I think we go Aspect of Nyx. I barely remember having used this. I think maybe it's only been one run. So let's give it a shot. We charge up, or we hold the dash button. It uses magic, and it deals a pretty sizable chunk of area damage in the process. And then afterward, our attack and special splits in 2, but does reduced damage. We'll give it a go. And then I think, in general, we've been using a lot of the Jeweled Palm plus Calling Card combo, and it's been working fairly well, so I think we'll probably stick with that here. I don't know that there's really much else for us to think about prophecy completion-wise, except for Arachne. We are getting kind of close to seeing that prophecy, or not really prophecy, subplot line side quest through. Then when it comes to the fear, I think we're just going to keep it simple here, especially because if we look at the black coat, yeah, it would send us up to the surface, so that is completely irrelevant for this run here. So we'll keep it simple.
Into Erebus.
Alright. Oh, and Selene right off the bat. Okay, and the random Hades upgrade we got is the one that makes Kronos take a big chunk of damage after 3 seconds. That is quite good. Okay, so what does Selene give us here?
I bid you shine for me again tonight.
Death to Kronos.
Oh.
I sense that you are growing closer to manifesting the reality that we have long since sought. May you yet drain whatever light is left in him.
So we were talking a lot last time about how, in many ways, some of the things that Melinoe was saying sound more like what's you would typically expect of a supervillain than what we tend to hear from Kronos, or at least it was roughly on par, which is a little bit alarming. But then again, mostly thinking about things like death to insert immortal being here, namely Kronos primarily, and how that is not really something that tends to happen in Greek mythology, because these beings are immortal, and so even if you attempt to quote-unquote kill them, they will somehow regenerate or come back in some way, shape, or form, even if it takes a really long time for that to happen. So for Melinoe to try to go beyond that and truly permanently destroy Kronos altogether, that is pretty serious stuff. But then again, we do have some people here like Selene who are saying things like death to Kronos, so maybe it's not Melinoe alone who is going that far. I mean, like, Selene is maybe not going quite as far as to say, you know, he needs to be permanently destroyed. She might be fine with just the, hey, you know, keep on bopping him on the head and that'll do the trick. But it's an interesting contrast between the approach of Melinoe and I guess some people who have been working alongside Melinoe for a while now, Hecate and the likes. But then on the other side, Zagreus, who is saying, you know, hold on, let's slow down just a second here. Maybe that's a little too extreme. Maybe we are going too far. And maybe you really are showing some signs of being a little too violent, evil, impulsive, whatever words you want to use here. Okay, but let's see what we have access to from Selene here, and we'll talk more about the ending, of course, when we hopefully get there. So we can do the healing one, we can do the beam. This has long been one of my favorites, although it's been a long time since we last had it. We haven't used Selene that much as of late, or at least when we have not leaned on her nearly as much. Yeah, these are two that we tend not to use very often, whereas this one is kind of a go-to. I think I'll stick with it since
I can see you may direct the lunar ray.
It's been so long. Okay, so now... Okay, I did jump into you, and maybe in doing so, might have taken damage, or that might have used
Reagent
a block
located.
from Golly. I didn't even really take notice of us having chosen Golly. I mean, it's left over from last time, of course, but she is generally one of, if not my favorites, so I think that's fine. Yeah, okay, that's definitely a block. So I'm realizing that, you know, the problem with running into enemies with your sprint to do damage to them is that does require running into enemies to do damage to them. And in doing so, okay, now admittedly that was not a sprint, but it does mean we are likely to take a lot more damage along the way. So do need to be a little bit mindful of that. Okay, the hammer is hard to turn down. Granted, we have very little direction at the moment. Technically, this can duo with Apollo, so we'd kind of like to see him. Ares, I don't know. Hammer, also a little bit tough at this stage because we don't really know what we want to focus on, because you can't really get hammer upgrades that improve your dash unless you're talking about a dash strike. But attack and special, technically those are enhanced a bit by the aspect of Nyx, so I guess we'll still go here. In a vacuum, the hammer, of course, is generally going to be better than boon rooms. Come on. Oh, I missed. Okay. So yeah, I'd like a little more to work with here. Fully charged attack has a lot more power. Special bounces toward 2 more foes. Well, this is kind of interesting, given how it's not that we're doing more damage, it's that these split in 2 and actually do reduced damage. So what if we just go all in on the area of effect by doing that? Okay, then it's Hermes, who I oftentimes am a fan of getting early, because he does have a lot of things that are more valuable the earlier you get them. Well, I attempt to face the correct direction. Except that he doesn't have much in the way of direct damage boosting stuff, and it does feel like that's kind of the thing that we're lacking right now. Okay, I would appreciate if you would face the direction that I'm trying to face, and also hit the enemies that I'm trying to hit. We'll pick that up later.
Gotta check up on a couple of things, but first, here.
Let's see. More damage if we take enemies down quickly. Dodge chance based on the number of boons we have. Well, we don't have any at the moment, is kind of what I was getting at. Can dash more frequently. It'd be the sprint speed, not so much the dash frequency that we're looking for here. So I think we will take mean streak. The other thing is that we obviously have the jeweled palm, which gives us extra levels, except those don't work on any Hermes boons. We're going to pass on all these, which also means usually I very much like taking the palms for the free, or rather the nectars for the free palm slices. Now, can you tell that nowadays when I see the nectar room, I'm thinking about palms primarily? But this also isn't going to do anything for us. Nemesis? Yes.
The mountain gods don't offer me their aid, though what about you?
Oh, okay. You think you're better than us because you don't need the aid of the Olympians. Oh. We get rid of the boon that we just picked up, which is currently still our only boon. In return, we receive 300 gold. I don't know. I mean, wasn't necessarily the ideal boon I was looking for, but it could be good, especially with our special. If it can stack up a bunch of kills quickly, that could add up. So I'm kind of thinking we decline this, and once again, the decline button is on the left side, even though the button to decline is on the right side of your controller. Really, really unintuitive. Just feels like something they ought to have switched a while ago, patched that up, but yeah, that is... Oh, it doesn't even show... Oh, no, it shows down here, I was going to say. It's already assuming that we are selling this. I almost pressed the decline button there. I think I am going to decline, though.
Go on, then.
I'm going to go here. That's fine. I know we would have had even more money to work with.
I'm back.
But, I feel like we have a very weak setup right now, in general. And this is not a great time to run into you unless we do this. Oh, come on. Just hit the main enemy.
Say something.
Okay, the targeting has been... I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, that's user error, but it's not been great. But the reason why I really wanted this instead of the shop, even though we still had a decent amount of money to work with there, was because Apollo is the duo that goes along with that hex that we just used.
You said you got Chronos, didn't you, Sunshine? Last night at least, but that's the Deathless Titans for you. Never staying down for long. Though you've something in mind for that, my sister says.
Yeah. He refers to them as Deathless Titans, and that's just so deeply ingrained in Olympian culture that the very prospect of making that no longer the case is just very hard to understand. Okay, so our sprint is faster and inflicts daze. I know it's not the highest rarity option here, but then again, it does feel like that could work quite well with Aspect of Nyx. Otherwise, I was thinking maybe Poseidon to knock enemies back when we sprint into them. In that case, it means we aren't necessarily just inviting them to attack us the moment that we arrive in their presence. And otherwise, this obviously makes a lot of sense as the highest rarity option. I'm gonna go for this.
With her goes the princess, so shall I.
Oh! Extra line from Homer there. And we get more monies. And it's admittedly, I didn't really have a plan for that. I just saw that it was up. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll use that. Even though it didn't necessarily make a ton of sense at the time. That is kind of interesting. I should probably do it when I'm closer to the enemies that I'm trying to hit, but... Oh. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, would like to see some special upgrades, given how we did get a potentially interesting hammer upgrade to go along with what we're currently rocking with the aspect. Okay, we're definitely going to go for Arachne, especially because that is a very bad alternative. We seemingly have been making some pretty good progress on her side quest. One moment while we just casually destroy everything in here. I missed this stuff. Then we speak to you.
Are you sure you're all right here? I can scarce go 50 paces in these woods without having to defend myself.
I'm comfortable alone. I have my little lair, I've sustenance, and I have my weaving. I no longer even need a loom and thread. I'm grateful. And I do so appreciate you visiting. Come back again, won't you?
Yeah, that seems very generic and not at all tied to her side quest, unfortunately. Let's see. Cast damage. Pure armor plus a little bit of crafting resources. I don't really know that we need Fate Fabric at this stage. There's a chance that there's one or two of the Arcana cards that needs it for upgrades, but it's not that expensive to get from the Wretched Broker. I think you use 30... Oh, it makes it quicker to charge up the Hex. That's kind of interesting.
There. Fits perfectly.
Okay, and then I think we'll go life here.
Come back soon.
Oh, it's one of these rooms. Also, we are lightning fast with this sprint now, because it was rare rarity and rank 4, and I think the ranks do improve the speed. Yeah, they must. They don't really need the healing, but that's all right. We go Zeus, or we can go life. I mean, we do have the jeweled palm, so we benefit from getting more boons, so I'm thinking we definitely go that route here. Try to get rid of your armor, so we can more safely do that, and I imagine it means there's going to be a whole lot more of you guys. I do not particularly like these enemies. Unfortunately, that does work. Don't stand that close. Don't stand so close to me. Okay. So Zeus special would be very nice.
Word has it that you somehow managed to thwart Kronos just last night. Although I remain somewhat skeptical because his forces still press the attack, and Typhon shows no sign of slowing down. We have to put a stop to this.
Indeed. Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? I don't really know that we want to swap that around. They're very bad in terms of rarity. And I don't like his revenge boon. Ugh. I think we're taking Power Surge, even though I definitely would have preferred a more basic boon from him. At this point, I think we'll take the bones. When I forgot, we have the extra damage based on how quickly we take enemies out, so we do want to shoot if I can. Oh, that, okay. Admittedly, I was not really paying very close attention to that. Oh, that was bad. There are so many projectiles. Excuse me. I'd like to get over here where all the enemies are. Maybe do some of this and some of that. Okay. There you are. Okay. And now, ooh. Okay, this is the penultimate room, which means it's a good opportunity to buy one or more boons from the shop. However, as I was saying, well, I was mostly just thinking about Poseidon because of the dash boon. Now that we do already have one, I think maybe we just pass on that idea altogether.
Look carefully about.
It'll be all right.
Moment. Slow one. There we are.
Free.
Nab
All
you.
yours, Gully.
Then I don't think the order matters much here because we don't have enough boons for this, for the palm to potentially lock us out of certain things. Okay, we can get the cast, we can get leech on low life, or we can get damage based on how much life we've lost, or the chance of double damage depending on how much life we've lost. I do like this one conceptually. We have a bunch of armor, which means it actually doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment. But it is high rarity. I know it doesn't get levels, but I think I'm still gonna go for this.
Peace can wait.
Then we're gonna go here, and it gives us 4% extra movement speed. I think we're doing it, because this one's not great. And then we could have, and can still use the Narcissus Keepsake to rarefy this quite a bit. It's just that this feels like a pretty big waste on that front. Well, actually, hold on. Hold on. Does this use magic? It does use magic. So technically speaking, it does synergize with our aspect a bit. Maybe I was a little too quick to dismiss this. Sure. Maybe we will actually use the Narcissus Keepsake after all. I don't need the healing.
Question.
Okay.
Tell me, ere we clash again, has your brother come to understand yet the necessity of his participation in your task?
So we have, of course, come to see these conversations with Hecate. These conversations with Hecate, words. They are ever more becoming relevant to the main plotline, right? And I think that's actually really clever. It's hard to have long conversations here because otherwise it disrupts the flow, but we know that these are required conversations with Hecate, and there are very few other situations in which you can be guaranteed that the player is always going to have those conversations. Even just talking to Hecate in the crossroads, technically, you could completely ignore her after every run. And I think that might be one of the reasons why the developers have been somewhat hesitant to have critically important conversations with Hecate take place at that point in time. So it's mostly been all up to Zacharias to give us that exposition. So I do like that we're getting more from Hecate here, and highlighting how important Zacharias' role will be. However, as we were talking about before, the previous conversation with Zacharias, he was willing to help to a certain extent, although he is very hesitant to go as far as Malinoi is so keen to go permanently destroying Kronos altogether.
It's been a bit of a struggle. He's found a suitable weapon in our father's spear, but he hasn't granted me its essence yet.
And I don't think we've had this conversation with Hecate in the previous true ending build-up.
Then tell him what he needs to hear, if that is what it takes to spur him on. I do not like having to count on him any more than you, but his cooperation is an absolute necessity.
And so there's a little more strategery, or a little more responding to setbacks. Now, granted, there's setbacks that are coming because one of our teammates is being uncooperative, but still, it seemed like that was one of the things that was sorely lacking before. It was always just jump from point A to point Z, and there were no setbacks at all along the way, or there was just a weird pause period in between in which, for some reason, there'd be conversations where no one seems to even be trying to improve upon the plan or discuss it in any greater detail, and then magically the next time round, suddenly we have a whole bunch of answers and everything is all hunky-dory. So I'm glad that we're at least getting a little bit more of that nuance here.
I need more than his cooperation. I need his deceive him, if that's what you suggest.
But as we were saying, there were some signs, some strong signs last time that Melinui was starting to veer into the evil territory. And so as I was saying earlier with Selene, it made me wonder if that was going to be an exclusively Melinui thing, and just she alone is arguably the bad guy, and at that point that gives more weight to Zagreus potentially siding against her, and if they stick with what they did in the original true ending, Zagreus not going with the original plan. Or are there actually going to be other people, Melinui's other allies, like Hecate, like Selene, but to a much lesser extent, also pushing further in the, or at least sticking to the whole, no, we absolutely must permanently destroy Kronos, even if that means that we're kind of venturing into evil territory, since it seems like Hecate is unwavering in her stance here.
I suggest nothing. The task is yours, as are the methods you employ to achieve it. But achieve it.
Alright. So I don't know that our special is going to do that much in the way of single target damage. It's not really the way that we have it built right now. Probably should have, oops, used the hex first, technically. I guess if you know which Hecate it is, it's actually a good time to use this hex. Ideally. True. That was bad. Wait for this round. Since I imagine she's close to phasing here. Yeah. No, we have Selene on our team. You're not allowed to use them. Last one? Might have been. Yes. One. Oh, only one. Okay, that wasn't a good time to use the X. That's two. Now we blast you. You are. It sounded like the voice line was coming from the furthest Hecate. And that was the real Hecate. I'm actually curious. Is that a hint, like a tell as to which one the real Hecate is, and I've just never noticed that before? That'd be a really cool detail. Can I squeeze in the... I can certainly do it now, but... Do I have enough range to do it from the beginning? Uh-oh. I dropped one of those! Oh, okay, well don't do that. Don't walk into her laser beam. Okay, hold on. Please change me back now. Been a while. Nope, don't do that. That's not who I was aiming for. Did I get you? It might have just barely run out of range. It did not. Yeah, that was not the best time to do it. Could have just face tanked that, I suppose, but... That big move? Probably take her out now, though. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of what I was getting at. It's not exactly the world's fastest Hecate fight. I would like a little more to work with offensively here.
Gemstones from the earth.
Okay. I think that is it in this room. I doubt those ever have anything in them, because I also kind of just didn't even realize those were ever there before. Okay, so we could use the Narcissus Keepsake. It would rarefy this significantly. I don't know how useful that's really going to be. In fact, one could argue we'd just be better off using Calling Card and prioritizing rarefying the boons we get on this next floor, because we still have some major boon categories that we've yet to see. And then if we still have one or more common rarity boons that we feel are worth leveling up, we could look to do that on the next floor. So, oh, right. Wasn't even the thing that I meant to click on anyway. So I'll do this first.
All right.
Then do you. Let's see. I mean, it is ideal timing. I think we'll probably go here. Sell our only boons. I mean, this still hasn't done anything for us, because we still have a bunch of armor, so you could make the case for it, but we're gonna stick with what we have, and just nab this real quick. Okay.
Into the depths.
Should be chaos
That leaves
here.
my feet are clean.
Okay, and good. We're skipping a not-so-great room.
Going.
Let's see what options we get here. Oh, hold on. One moment,
Prepare,
please.
fishy. And caught. I caught a marty.
That I did, although I don't think that's one of the rarer ones. Oh.
Creation, there can be no destruction, he says. I believe he is entirely correct.
Interesting. Okay, let's see. Limited to common blessings. Can we still rarefy with the calling card? Or does it not even let us? I'd actually be kind of curious to see. Dash makes us lose magic. Afterward, we restore 15 life per room. One fewer blessing to choose from, but we get more. And we can't rarefy these. Darn it. I think this might be the best option for us. The upside is extra life. None of these are especially exciting. If we had more cast stuff going on with a nice cast boon, or if this improved the cast, but it doesn't, it might make sense. So I think we're just going with you. This is a little interesting on the downside, just because I am curious if it technically works with Power Surge, but I think we're still going to go with this. And then we can also see if the calling card still works, which is also something I'd kind of like to test. Or are these just basic crafting resources, though? It's not really what we're looking for here. We're still pretty sorely lacking when it comes to direct damaging abilities here. And sometimes Chaos can give us that stuff, but on this occasion, that is not how it played out. This is a good place to use a special that branches off and hits a bazillion enemies. Did step in the steam ever so slightly earlier on. We lost one of our armors. Oh no. Ooh. Well, we know it's going to be both of these that we have the option of upgrading. This gives us more speed, but that's just really not what we're looking for. I think we really want to give ourselves more options to work with here. Please don't run away. That was straightforward enough. Selene, not bad, because we do have duo hex potential, but we've yet to realize that because we need more Selene points. But obviously it still means we're lacking special attack or cast boons. I guess I'll settle for it. I was tempted to go one more room, see what we could get. Yeah. No way, those were going to be the last enemies, right? That's a lot of heat-seeking projectiles, though.
Spouts are up.
Please don't do that. Cool. Careful of the steam. We've already seen that. Do a tiny bit of damage. Here's more Selene. So now we can make our way here for the big God-sent one, and we have just enough to do that. But if we're thinking about angle of approach, let's just take a look at have it fire longer. We can have it pierce through foes, because that may dictate whether we want to go here or here, because that double dips a little bit on the pathing. Oh, and what is this? I do really like this. I think it makes a big difference. So I would ideally like to go all the way on that. And the piercing, I probably do prefer that to the duration, although they are both good. As I said, this is one of, if not my favorite hex. I don't love this, although it does make some sense, since we are standing still, at least until we get this with the hex, so it makes it so we can tank a little bit more damage. Does damage at the end point, that's good for... I think that gives significantly more damage. And mini-boss. We don't yet have Hephaestus. We do have Apollo, but Apollo has not given us a primary category boon. These are kind of anti-synergies, at least. If we're thinking about Hephaestus giving us armor stuff, we can build more into trying to support the dress, keep this as long as possible, or we can, well, I don't know that we can go even further on the mutual destruction side, but putting more armor makes it even less likely that we're going to get value from this. So, I don't know. I feel like I kind of like the hit once, hit hard nature of this, though. It's been a little while since we've seen this guy. Okay, I immediately got hit by him, just by standing there like a lemon.
No hiding from this light.
That was pretty good timing, though. That worked pretty well. We are still sorely lacking damage from anything other than that, though. Ooh, he's right there. And these guys obviously cause some trouble as well. Oh, that was close. Where'd he go? Boom. We have a normal version of Hex available, of course. I was trying to hit him with that. Maybe set off the steam on him while we're at it. Hold on. Oh, definitely don't want to stand there. Oh! Trying to hit him with the dash move. I didn't realize he was right on top of me, to be honest with you. He's a little hard to see sometimes. There we go. Okay, definitely carried by the Hex.
I win this time, O King.
So it is nice, with the lack of damage from other things, to have the dress accelerating how quickly we can use the Hex, and the dash using magic is actually kind of nice on that front as well.
Am I to understand you gave a certain titan a right thorough walloping of late? Mayhap I helped in my own way? Not like you took down Kronos with your bare hands, eh? The point is, good job, Witchy.
Don't remember if we had Hephaestus last time, to be honest with you. He may have helped. Alright, but these are all common rarity, but it seems like we're at least getting the prompt to suggest that we can rarefy. Specials do damage in a blast area. As I was saying, special, I think, is maybe our highest priority boon at this stage. So do we just super aggressively rarefy it here? Or do we wait until this Chaos boon goes away and we have a chance of getting a little bit of a head start so we don't have to use the vast majority of our rarefication on this alone? I think I might go with this.
I accept this gift.
Try to bide a little more time, be a little more patient.
No trace of horrid lurkers of the deep.
Okay. We don't need it, but thanks, I guess. Ooh, it's kind of a nasty room. Remember, we get the extra armor at the beginning. What with the rune that we just picked up. Okay, that's pretty incredible, though. Except that that was not the last of the enemies in this room. It does kind of surprise me. That was also being close to having enough range to hit us. It feels like if we get even a relatively minor special boon, that probably will be enough to make a big difference. But in those rooms that are crowded, it's not so bad. It's when we have one big tanky target. The timing. The timing is very unfortunate because we still have one more room with this. Just really want that to happen as quickly as possible, and the game just insists on giving us these crafting item rooms. Not helpful in a variety of ways. Hex, on the other hand, as you just saw, as I was saying before, kinda OP. Okay, is this the penultimate room already? Oh, I think it is. Wow. Okay, so common rarity Zeus or shop. I mean, this very well could be what we would have wanted to purchase from the shop anyway. So I feel like we might save our money here. Not that we're tight on cash at the moment, but we'll go here, get the free boon, and then we can be especially aggressive money-wise going forward.
Why, thank you. Olympus
This will evolve the Chaos Boon at least. Oh. Ooh. That's very interesting. The infusion is still possible. We have 3 air boons. Obviously, it's not going to be active at the moment, but it does seem like it should be possible going forward. I think we take it. I mean, it's a nice workaround. Really didn't expect it to be possible with this curse. I am half wondering if it's not going to progress the curse because we're kind of circumventing the downside of it. But no, it still evolves. That gives us more life. All right, I guess we'll take it.
Tough crowd tonight, but if they can't appreciate our artistry, we'll make them.
All right. Yeah, going straight into it. Thought I was getting the sense that might have been the case from just the way she was saying that line. So yeah, we don't have a good build for this outside of the Hex, which I know that we have right now, but I'm kind of trying to save it for the ideal moment. We do get bonus damage after we use it. There is something to be said for using it as quickly as possible. However, this is the easiest phase, which is making me a little reluctant to do it right now. Ooh, nope, wrong one. That's the one where you avoid her, and now this is skill is about to give her big projectile attack. There it is. Ooh, that was close. This is why it's nice to have a lot of damage to take out the drummer more quickly. Otherwise, it enters more into bullet hell territory. Various attacks and projectiles and all that you have to dodge. Not that she's really shooting projectiles, but she covers a bunch of the ground with areas where you're not supposed to go, when combined with Skilla and the guitarist, it feels more that way. Okay, this is kind of tempting to use the Hex here, just because everyone's all lined up, and I think we do now have a little bit of an area of effect from it, but trying to at least wait until the next phase, because it feels like that gives us full value at that point. But yeah, it's been a long time since we... Oh, and I was trying to sprint to set that up, and then in doing so, I ended up just barely walking out of the area. Yeah, we kept the drummer up longer than I would like to have done, and meant we had a lot more dodging and repositioning to do. That is not the direction I'm meant to be facing. You just attacked Skilla? Okay. She's gonna do her big projectile attack now. Surprised me hit by the guitarist move there, to be honest. Okay. Finally, at least have her down, so we can focus exclusively on Skilla, and this would be a good time to do this. Be approaching from the correct angle. Oh, okay, hold on. Very rarely is that explosive container on the edge relevant, but almost was on that occasion. We don't have any magic restoration, do we? I'm realizing maybe I shouldn't really be doing that. Also, our dash move does use magic as well. Please just phase already. You're almost at half health. There we go. That must be the phase, right? Okay, we are definitely gonna focus on you now, and Skilla is pretty close by, so all the more reason to do that. Oh, that's not enough. Uh-oh. That's not enough. Please go down now. Still wasn't enough. Oh, gosh. Go down already. There we go. No, you're just going to stand there. We have already used our Godsend version, but that's okay. That was the moment I was trying to save it for. me. Nobody gonna be standing there either. To be honest, I didn't really mean to press the hex button there. And so when I initiated it, I was not facing the direction I wanted to be facing, and we got very little value out of it. Okay, you're down. Thinking we save the hex for the final component, although it's hard to use this hex when you're getting rushed down by a bazillion enemies, which is what's going to happen. This, then I'm going to do this. Come on, get her! There we go. As I think I've said before, I think that is my favorite of their songs. Assist kill. Oh, did the block from Golly actually get the kill? It might have. That's kind of funny. Okay, so now that we have you, and we have you, we have at least one more common rarity boon that could potentially get rarefied with the Narcissus Keepsake. I don't know if we necessarily are all that keen on seeing this level up. Oh yeah, I probably could have considered taking... Did we see a common rarity special? I think we did, and I turned it down. I kind of was not thinking about Narcissus at that point. So maybe we could have done it and just taken our chances on it being a 50-50 special upgrade. But I think we might even Selene here and pass on Narcissus altogether. Because it's
very well.
Maybe just not quite the ideal circumstance. Here, I think we're fine with all that stuff. And honestly, if you did give us the opportunity to sell the Ares boon, I might do it at this rate. Because, yes, we have taken a little bit of damage, so we don't have all the armor we once had, but we do still have armor, so we are still getting 0 value out of that boon, and it is an epic rarity boon, so it is worth something. We'll see where we stand at the end of this floor. Alright, even this is going to use magic. Okay, well, we know that Selene is going to show up, and she does not break Fate's Whim, even though you would think that she would count. At least based on prior experience. Thought we came to that conclusion. Probably shouldn't be using magic here. The reasons we were discussing before. We have lots of ways to spend magic. We do not have lots of ways to get magic back. Woo! Not even see that guy. It's gonna just have to be a whole lot of this for the time being. Hello. I guess technically those guys are still fodder for our Hermes boon that gives us extra damage based on how many enemies we attack. And for that reason, I deliberately tried to make that go as quickly as possible and just clicked on the first one that I saw. Maybe the other option was going to be more useful in the short term. I don't know. Oh, it was Selene, right? What it would have been. Okay, I think we're all pretty bad still, and we're at this point almost certainly not going to rarefy you, so I think we're just going to go with the extra sprint speed while we're at it. Slingy's all the way down here, that's why that's... Okay. Oh, there's a bit of a delay, which made me think we were going to get another Nemesis appearance there, but we've already seen Nemesis on this run, so I was like, wait a second, that's not right, and also she was taking a little too long to spawn in. Young grasshopper. Okay, so with this, we have a lot more points to work with, which means we can use a God-sent version one more time for the boss encounters. I think that is worthwhile. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we can get down or all the way over here and also get down for the piercing part. And we can make a little bit of progress in this direction as well, if we would like. Let's see what we're getting along the way here. More armor while we use it. Even more... Oh, okay. Not liking that. Extra damage for the rest of the encounter after we use it. The piercing component. Extra damage the longer we charge it up for. That means that's going to be even stronger still once we eventually get there. And this is the one that allows us to move while we are channeling it, which is really nice. Then here, even more damage, or we can go gains more power over time, or more damage after we've done it once, or more damage the longer we go. We're going to get a lot more of the damage the longer it goes, and then we increase the duration. So you know what? Let's go all in on that. If we get even more Selene, that could become a pretty big deal. Okay, so mini boss for Hephaestus. I'm not thrilled about more single target situations when we still have not found an attack special or cast boon, or we go Ares, who might be able to give us one of those things. I think we're doing it though. Let's see which one it is. It's you. Okay, actually, these guys are really helpful. These guys are our primary source of damage because we use them to spam our special and hopefully, in doing so, get some bonus damage. Oh right, we don't need to stand still anymore for that. I forgot. But obviously this guy can life leech, which means we could see much of our progress get reversed. Well, that's not the exact thought he was doing. I thought he was doing the magnet effect again. Where to go? Now he's doing it. Very long range on that one move. Longer range than we do, I think. Is a bit of a problem. Let him leech. I thought that was gonna hit him with the aspect. Oh, I got stuck on the boom of all things. Okay, we do have another round of the Hex, which I am looking for an opportunity to use. I'm thinking this is it. So we don't need to be standing still for it anymore. It's almost down. There we go. Okay. Took a while, but I don't think we took any damage, so that works. And then you... Let's see. So now we can get higher rarity ones. Deal extra damage to armor. Get extra armor each location, but it primes some of our magic. We would still like some magic regeneration. We actually get a cast that does damage. I mean, we might need to do this just out of sheer necessity. Otherwise, and that'd be kind of nice if we're trying to sustain the armor for you, which is really our primary source of damage. So in a way, you could make the case this is actually better. And now that these are not all starting common rarity, I think I'm going to rarefy this at least once. 35 armor per room. Okay, and then we'll go here. Take this.
Here, fishy.
Ooh, quick
no
one.
escape. A tearjerker.
It's so sad.
Echo, have you been? Have you been? You been? You been?
Okay, let's see. Manifest a copy of the Boon of Hephaestus. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Next thing we purchase, we get an extra copy, or we double the level of our highest level boon, which would be one of these two. If it lands on the... I mean, either one of these I don't think is very worthwhile. The diminishing returns are pretty significant on the, on the dash. I don't know that... What would it be, like 5% extra movement speed? I don't know if that really makes much of a difference for us, so I think we're going extra Hephaestus boon here.
Take care now. Take care. Care in the name of Hades.
And now, we get a higher rarity version of that cast that we were eyeing before. This would be Magic Restoration, although this is one of my least favorite ones, so I'd rather get it from someone else. I think we're taking you. And we could rarefy you just once, and it gets up to Heroic, which is pretty nice, so I think we will probably do that, even if, ideally, I would like to save rarifications for the special. That is still priority number one, but this is just at least a way to do damage in the meantime. Because we were sorely lacking in that department. No, but man, this run is crazy. If we had fear on this run, this would be so difficult because there's so few boons. There's no boons in that room either. Yes, this has a hammer, which is great, but It has Hermes, which can be great, except we still have so few boons, and he's of a different category. We would not be able to get an attack or special boon from him. I mean, we are definitely going this way. But I'm just saying, there are various ways in which that's actually not ideal.
Should be able to revive that bow.
Okay, so now I think I'm gonna go here first because there are some things that, oh dear, get stronger. I was stuck. I cannot avoid you. I would love to have, yes, this. Oh my god. Come on, focus on the mini-boss enemy. So that is the most difficult enemy that you can get here, of course, generally speaking. At least I tend to think of it that way. And it helps to be prepared when it does show up. It can only show up a maximum of one time, but
It's over.
it is over. I suppose getting the extra armor from that boon we just picked up from Hephaestus, or the boon 2 times ago, does hopefully make up for, or help deal with the damage that we just took.
My authority.
Okay, this is why, by and large, I made a point of going Hermes first. The earlier we get this, the better. This would be nice. In terms of pure damage, that would be the best option. Chance-based effects. I mean, if we were going mutual destruction, that would be very good. But we still are getting absolutely nothing out of this, and I don't know if we have anything else that is probability-based at the moment. So I think we are probably passing on that. And you are also an air boon, which means we get close, but we're not quite at the point where we have
Stronger.
the effect from the infusion for Zeus. You're gonna do that. Yep. Okay, I guess we're going. We should go hammer first.
Come fight me.
Get at me, bro. Yeah, usually I think we make more of a point of taking out all the little enemies before we start the main encounters. Didn't make a point of doing that this time. It did come back to bite us in that first encounter, because that led to us taking more damage, either directly or indirectly. Not sure if they were necessarily the enemies that ended up hitting me, but they definitely were distracting me as I was trying to focus on the main mini-boss enemy. This time as well, didn't deal damage, but they did make it a little trickier. Let's see what we get here. Still ideally looking for special. When your attack strikes foes, your special has a 25% chance of firing. That's not bad. Special briefly gains +5 power for up to 5 consecutive hits to the same foe. It's kind of intriguing. I don't remember this. And this is nice because it sort of automatically gives you another way to fire your special. But we're trying to maximize the number of hits from the special. I think that could be quite good. But I swear, it always fires in the strangest of directions, where I think I'm facing the enemy, but then apparently I'm not. Okay. Now, to also not hold the sprint button, otherwise I risk using magic when I don't actually want to use magic. Remember, we do get extra armor, especially at the very beginning of the encounters, at which point, or after a few seconds, it goes away, so it almost makes sense to deliberately be overly aggressive in the first few seconds to make use of that extra armor. Because otherwise, it's going to go away and you get no value out of it.
Corruption clear.
I mean, if it helps, of course. So we can get... Oh, it's actually 4% speed from one level. Okay, admittedly, I did not think it was going to be that much incremental value. We could get even speedier still. If we were to get the magic restoration from Ares, he can give you the plasmas that also give you movement speed, so we could get crazy fast at that point. So this alone is not going to make us be the fastest we've ever been. But it's still kind of interesting. Otherwise, I mean, none of these are especially great. I guess you for a tiny bit of additional damage when we use magic, since we do have multiple ways in which we are using magic. Okay, then... Is this the penultimate room? I think it is. I think we're definitely going here, because now we have quite a bit of monies to spend. That is very fast. Okay. I think we're gonna do this first, and then we're gonna do you, but make the case for going the other way around. Also not a magic restoration boon that I'm a big fan of. Revenge boon. Your charge cast expires, rapidly deal damage in an area for 2 seconds. I don't like any of these. I guess we'll go revenge boon, mostly just because it's... Oh, actually, I would take this just because it's an air boon, so we get the infusion, but then that locks us out of other magic restoration boons, so there is an opportunity cost there, and I think that's reason enough not to go with you, so I'm going to take you in that case. Revenge boon, I don't like it, but at least it is something if we get hit, and then we will end up empowering that revenge boon, starting armor, or the other form of starting armor, and 2 extra armor. I mean, this one is more consistent than this. What are the chances that we need that much armor at the very beginning? That seems very unlikely. I mean, it is 7 seconds, so it is enough to tank more than just 1 hit. Maybe it is actually worth doing this one. I think it's still this, though. Over the long haul, I think that's still gonna amount to more. And we could get even more armor here. Now, it'd be nice to get the Hephaestus boon that gives us extra damage based on how much armor we have. So we have enough that would be pretty significant at this point. So, we have enough coins. I'm gonna do this. Especially if we may find ourselves selling you in between floors. Okay, so I'm deliberately gonna face tank it because we have that extra starting armor.
Believe me, so am I.
Although I think, the resistances are actually going to get used up before the extra starting armor does, and now it's gone. Unfortunately, the priorities, the order of operations of those getting used up is not really ideal. Also, I'm surprised that our hex is not ready yet. I would like to do that as soon as possible. Like so. Another turbo hex. I'm wondering if it is worth it to be clever with that and delay it, or if we should just get it in as soon as possible. I think the answer is probably well. Is he going to phase soon? He might be. I'm going to wait until he phases, I think. Oh, right. I have to remember that the cast is the one thing that has a lot of extra damage. Oh my god, that was brutal. That was a brutal combination. And somehow we avoided getting hit. Okay, well, except not that time. Doing flamethrower? No. It should be very close to phasing. Theoretically, I think. He does phase at 1/3 health, does he not? Oh, okay. Somehow avoided that one too. And all those. In part, accidentally, but that's okay, we'll take that. No, is it only at half health that he phases? He is close to that too, to be fair. Come on, reach half health. There we go. Okay, that was the moment I was waiting for so that I could at least... Wow, there's, I swear, way more ads than he usually has. What is the deal with this? What is the deal with this? This is twice as many ads as he would usually have. Because he has the wolf dudes, but he also has the other enemies that are usually optional. I've never seen this before. He's going to spawn in before we take all these guys out by a wide margin at that. The problem now becomes I don't want to waste the hex on these guys, which is going to end up happening if I use it now. It took so long that I can't get it as well. Now, Cerberus is, of course, not going to cooperate. Would have been the best time to do this. It's now not amazing timing anymore, but it's okay. We got the full value in. It ended up working out. Close enough to get hit by that cast? Just miss. That's a lot. The sprint that's supposed to do damage after I'm done at the end of it is just not proccing nearly as much as I would expect it to. I might be that now I don't have enough magic for it. I think that's why. So there are definitely times when I've attempted to set it up and just seen nothing happen. I'm like, what gives? Maybe that's the reason. Yeah. I don't know if he always does that after popping up from going underground, but maybe it is. Something instinctively sort of told me that was going to happen on that occasion. It's almost enough to get him. Now he's going back to flamethrower, which is actually pretty good, because for once we're actually in a good position when he's doing it. So there we go. Once again, very slow fight. We're still looking for sources of damage outside of just the hex.
Causing hellish Cerberus to itch and scratch so much no longer bother him for now.
So the beast is soothed.
Now be at peace
We are
again.
still very much looking for damage. I think that is it in here. So let's carry on.
That's that.
So obviously at this point we are running out of time
Fields, at least.
for a special boon in particular, but attack would obviously be nice as well. We still have a few rarifications remaining. We don't want to ruin Fate's Whim.
Maybe I should switch.
So not going to use any of these guys, but could do the experimental hammer. I think we've experimented with it a little bit in either the previous run or the run before that, trying to get it to rank up one more time. One more floor, or one more room rather, and it will do that. That's a little frustrating that we got ever so close, but it didn't quite happen last time. Of course, it's random, so we don't know if it hits a special hammer upgrade. That'd be great, but if not, then it might not be that useful. But we might, you know, I think I'm going to do this, because with the help of the Hades boon that we got at the very beginning from the Jeweled Palm, it's the one that does 20% damage to Kronos, alongside the Knuckle Bones, it gives us a big burst of damage, which is something we don't really have right now, in addition to the defensive bonuses as well, but
excellent.
Mostly the damage is what I'm looking for from that. And, ooh, I'm thinking we double up here. Just see real quick. Darn it. If we had anticipated, as I said, I knew there was a chance we might have wanted to have sold this early on, but it was still a little speculative because we didn't know if we were going to go all in on the armor or instead abandon ship and potentially try to build around mutual destruction. It didn't end up happening, of course, so now I would have liked the chance to sell it, but it's too late. It's too late now.
An even trade.
I'm gonna go for both of these. We do need to be careful, of course, of what that Chaos Boon, or Chaos Curse, really, might give us. But the timing is still... If there is such a thing as ideal timing on this final floor, this is it for Chaos.
Unseen. The lowest reaches.
And we also get... Ooh, is this gonna proc for Chaos? I think it actually might. Which could be interesting.
Just a few chambers to the house.
Here's the Chaos room.
Welcome to the depths of
This is a
Tartarus.
small room.
I'm not finished with you.
One moment. Still not finished with you. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please be patient with me and the very weak build that we are running. Oh, what? That didn't hit me. I deliberately ran away because I didn't want to get hit by, well, your projectile, but more so the freezy thing, and I did end up getting hit by the projectile, and that frustrates me. And I think gonna do this. Oh my goodness, this is so painful. Oh, we passed on one special boon because it was common rarity, I think. And we have seen at times that we've had to skip the Hades room because of the guaranteed Chaos Gate. It didn't happen this time, so that's fortunate. We're just skipping a boring room. There's no downside there.
Chaos seeks me.
Okay, so we don't take any damage going in. That's obviously nice. We actually heal. Okay, is still crafting resource, and that is not a fishing spot, even though it almost looked like... Oh, but that is. Almost missed it.
The trap is set. Victory.
There we are.
Another void skate.
I think that's the good one. Okay, so now here, as I said, we need to be careful. I think this is going to use the Yarn of Ariadne, but there's a chance that that doesn't apply to Chaos Spoons. It's definitely a bad downside at this stage, and also not very useful upside. If we got this at the very beginning, it would be incredible, but not so much at the Oh no! Oh no! What do we do? Oh no! I'm afraid this has gone horribly wrong on so many levels. Our special is our primary source of, well, ideally would be our primary source of damage. We don't yet have a special boon, so it's not quite the case just yet. Maybe we can get away with this. Afterward, we heal a little bit per location. The upside is bad, and if anything, might just pay off the damage we end up taking from the special. If we do accidentally use it a bit, taking 40% extra damage for 5 encounters is horrible on this floor in particular, let alone that we'll have almost no rooms to benefit from that extra gold. And then we get this, the reduced sprint speed. We took this for the first time, I think, either on the previous run or the run before that, and wow, it was a lot worse than we thought. We do have more sprint speed, but I think the thing that was particularly striking was, despite it saying that your sprint speed is slower, yeah, it's move and sprint speed. It's the move part that's so horrible. Because when you're not sprinting, you are an absolute snail. And with 42% lower sprint speed, when we are sprinting, it's only slightly slower than it would be by default, because we do still have a very high rarity sprint boon. And then using less magic isn't even that helpful. In fact, you could argue this is a downside. That there is no upside to this boon, because we want to spend more magic to charge up our Hex, which is still our primary source of damage. We don't have a magic restoration boon. That's another key thing that we are missing. So technically it does help us avoid running out of magic, but if we are to get a magic restoration boon at some point, then this is actually going to be bad, because then we are not really concerned about using magic at that point, and we just want to be spending more to charge up the Hex as often as possible. So everything is bad in almost every conceivable way possible, is basically all you need to know here. I'm going to take this, but it means we could be in a lot of trouble. I guess we're going here, and if you happen to have anything to help bail us out from this horrible situation we find ourselves in, that would be lovely.
Father.
She's back already, Cerberus.
She is indeed.
Look upon me.
This is going to be a quick one. There we are.
There.
Okay.
The Shades heed you, at least.
To think that you might stop the Titan forever. In my youth, I could not believe we were related. Yet now I realize I've grown old and wretched and wrathful, like him.
Well, we've definitely grown wrathful as of late.
Lord Father, it was my wrath that brought me to this point.
Right.
And how can you possibly compare yourself? Look what the Titan did to you.
This is odd self-awareness from Linui. Seemingly didn't have much of that during our previous conversation with Zagreus. And yet here she is saying, no, maybe suggesting I was ready to go too far, but I doubt she's about to double back on the plan.
We did this to each other. Gods and Titans, doomed to live forever, yet learn nothing all the while. Do as you must, but take no vengeance in my name.
Okay, I mean, that's interesting. Seemingly some life lessons that Malinui would benefit from learning, although, as we were saying before, you would think that Hades would potentially have some very meaningful plot-related things to say to us. Then again, given how technically every Hades encounter, at least until the very end, is optional, you can't really have anything that the players must hear happen in a Hades encounter, because otherwise you're potentially going to have a bunch of players who Never experienced that. Okay, get extra damage when we get hit is tempting. Get extra damage when we dash. We do have... I mean, this is sprint speed, not the dash itself. But it's potentially useful. Leech. We have a bunch of armor. So it's not going to do anything for a long time unless and until we end up going through all that armor. And even then, we almost want to take damage to power up mutual destruction, so I don't really think we want you. It's probably one of these two. And the Scorn makes enemies take more damage from both attacks and specials. I think I'm going to go with this. Both of them could certainly work. I think I'm going to go with this. Because we're not going to be walking very often. It's going to be a lot of dashing and holding the sprint button. Like, this isn't horrible. This feels pretty normal. But at least if we do this, we can potentially get a little bit of value out of it offensively. These next few rooms, make no mistake, they're going to be an absolute nightmare. Ooh, yep. I wasn't sure if I had the right angle there or not. Just cutting it close. Changed the angle on me a little bit. Love to use the Hex, but I don't know to what extent we're going to continue to see more enemies spawn in here, in which case I don't know if we can afford to use it this early. Right, we did not take the one in. Oh, yep. See, there are more. A lot more enemies. I hope this is the last of them. Otherwise, we're going to be in a lot of trouble right now. What? I'm actively sprinting away and not even trying to go in that direction. That's also very frustrating. No. We'll be standing in that. I'd like to get the Rat Man. Push him onto the spikes. Then you do this, so we don't have to walk onto the spikes ourselves. Okay. Whew. One room down. How many? 5 rooms of that. 4 left, but 5 in total. Oh boy. Oh boy. Man, as I was saying before, if this was not a zero fear run, this could have been an absolute nightmare, and it still is to a certain extent. To the extent that we can isolate enemies like this, that is very nice. Slow and steady. No! Come on. Every time I'm getting caught mid-animation with hits. And it's really... Okay, those I just ran straight. That's 100%. That's not really the place where we want to be putting that. That guy is technically a mini-boss. Or an armored version, at least. Okay. 2 rooms down. Oh, boy.
Mind getting that for me?
Well, speaking of mini-bosses. Oh, man. Usually we would like to go into these rooms nowadays, and it does obviously give us an extra opportunity to get some of the power that we sorely are lacking right now, but then again, this is unbelievably risky, and it is the more dangerous of these guys, naturally. Have the extra armor at the beginning. I probably should have just face tanked it. Okay, we're obviously going to break this out as soon as possible. Just drop that. Oh, I missed with it. Hit him a little bit. Hit him a little bit. Drop that. Okay, now run. That's just, a little bit of damage we poke him with. Hit him with this too while we're at it. Try not to walk straight into that unnecessarily, though. This is the worst part. That can do crazy damage, and obviously this is not ideal either. Have I ever mentioned before how much I hate this encounter, especially when we have C DPS? He's armorless now, which means we can bully him. Okay. Whew. Speaking of armor, we do still have some, but it's not a lot. That's one more room down, but this was theoretically one of the most difficult ones that we just checked off.
In the name of Hades.
Okay. Oh boy. We have needed this so badly. This is what I was waiting for. We are definitely rarefying it.
That I can do.
Now you could make the case that technically Hephaestus was not the best special for us to get because he does a big burst of damage with a cooldown, and this hits multiple enemies, and especially with one of our hammer upgrades, it branches off to hit even more enemies or hit the same enemy multiple times, and I imagine that probably doesn't work with the cooldown unless we get that leveled up even more. Oh, I can see this.
Some marble.
Oh, this would also be the other most difficult type of encounter. But I think we have to do it. Fortunately, the armor has helped us quite a bit to shrug off many of the hits that we've been taking. It does mean if we go into this room, we are very likely not going to have armor going into the, or at least not have the dress anymore going into the final fight. But I think that the bonuses we get from the room we just did and the room that we're about to walk into hopefully make up for that. Okay, so strategic decision here. Zeus creates a bunch of circles on the ground, and they deal damage very quickly. So with our lack of mobility, that's a big deal. Apollo, is it a heat-seeking projectile? Or does he also do the basic circles on the ground that deal damage to us? I feel like either way, we're making Apollo mad at us. I think Zeus probably would have been the best one, actually, for the special. Obviously, we didn't know in advance that he was going to show up here, but we'll go here. And we could get his attack, and anything that we do get is going to be the air boon we need to set off the infusion, which gives us a minimum of 50 damage per hit, and I'm, to be honest with you, not even sure what is going to benefit from that. Because most of our stuff, with Hephaestus especially, is going to come in big bursts of damage that's way harder hitting than that. Maybe the dash? The dash does slightly more damage in that case, and that might be the only thing. So, okay, not that that's a big factor here. I mean, anything was going to be an air boon from Zeus. I think we're probably... Ooh. That's kind of interesting. Especially... Does that count our special, the chains all over the place? I mean, it's kind of hard to pass down. Pass on an attack boon when we don't have one. I think we're using one rarification here to get a heroic rarity.
I felt something.
Zeus attack.
You wound me, cousin. After everything we've been through together, you'd brush me off so easily.
Go for the fundamentals, because we've been sorely lacking in that department for a long time, but we see that Zeus boon come up again, the one with the chain lightning. That might be worth taking a hit now.
Had to do it.
Right, remember, we have the extra armor at the beginning. Okay, it's also circles on the ground that do damage from Apollo.
More coming.
Do they do damage to the enemies? No. Okay, it's just the visual effect made it seem like it was for a second there. What is it that's doing all this damage to the enemies, though? I'm not really doing much to hit them, to be honest. Oh, it's the cast maybe that I'm dropping every once in a while? Ow. Hit by something. Go away, Ratman. Honestly, not too bad. I think I only got hit once. We will definitely take that.
No use keeping anger bottled up. We're gods. We control everything but our emotions, right?
Okay. Is magic restoration, as I said, not a huge fan of that, although we're running out of time to get a different magic restoration, and I also don't like all the gods and goddesses who we have precedent from right now are ones who I don't like the magic restoration boon of. So we're probably going to have to compromise there in some way at some point. Deal more damage until we take damage. Heal off some damage when we have at least 3 fire. We do have 3 fire, but this also doesn't really work with armor. So it seems like we've found a way to get a bunch of gods and goddesses that don't work well together. Or at least the boons that we happened to get from them do not work well together. So maybe some of that was us being unlucky, but maybe we could have predicted that to a certain extent and taken some other options with the various boons. I think it's going to have to be perfect image. I'm not going to rarefy it. I know it's only rare, but I feel like we might still have better options for that last rarefication in the future. And we need one more room before the Chaos Boon evolves, and that's the key, because then we're at least moving normally. Afterward, we use less magic, which, if we don't get a magic restoration boon, means, okay, at least we can use magic aggressively still, not have to worry about running out of it all that quickly. But as I was saying before, it technically means that our... Ooh, hello there. This is definitely going to be a room for the special that bounces all over the place. And a room for placing the cast, ideally right on top of all these enemies. Okay, you gotta go, buddy. It could have been worse. I did take a little bit of damage, but there is Chaos Boon evolving. At least we can move normally now. That's big. And then from you, obviously anything that we buy here will potentially mean we have less spending power at the super shop. This is kinda useful, given how we don't have a magic restoration boon and it's so inexpensive that that might still be worthwhile. Might take both of these.
I have the gold.
We do have the gold for now. And there may still be some optional rooms once we get out of here, because it seems like the total number of optional rooms is still not quite as high as it would often be. That was very crowded, very cramped room, though. Oh, go away! These, honestly, those hazards, whatever you want to call them, traps, been especially troublesome. This run in particular. Probably in large part because of our lack of damage, meaning that we've not been able to get rid of all these projectile enemies very quickly, so I just keep on getting hit by them. And it just gets really frustrating. It's not an enjoyable experience. Now I'm just going to make a point of getting rid of you, even though I'm pretty sure I took damage in the process. Okay. That's done. Nab you.
Thanks, little one.
And no additional optional rooms. Wow. I think this is the shortest. I mean, as of late, we've been going to pretty much every optional room we can go to. Usually we see, in addition to the option for mini boss and the double god/goddess room, there's usually super palm and or super gold and or one of the well rooms that gives us healing, and we did not see any of those things. We did skip a room because of chaos. I wonder if maybe we would have had the option to branch off further if we had gone into that room that we missed because of chaos. That's probably why, because I think it is basically guaranteed every run that as long as you take every optional room, you will then eventually have access to at least all of those ones that I was just talking about. Okay, so with the money we have, I think we can get, I mean, obviously we're going to have to pass on you, but we can get most, if not all, of the things that we're looking for here. We might be close to whether or not we can afford you, but let's see. So go you first.
In the name of Hades.
Ooh. We have seen this before. We're probably about to spend most of our, and we have taken it, so for prophecy completion purposes, it's not really necessary. It's also not going to be very useful when we are very likely about to spend most, if not all, of our money. Just about all of our money. So if you have a whole bunch stockpiled, then it can give you, functionally, a whole bunch of extra life. It would also be yet another way in which we are preventing ourselves from benefiting from mutual destruction. World's worst mutual destruction run. No, I think we're taking this. The earlier you get it, the better in general, I think, because it gives you even more time to benefit from preventing damage. But it does also give us even more sprint speed, even if we blow through those 3 blocks fairly quickly in the upcoming boss fight. Yeah, reducing the speed of its projectiles would also be useful, but I, in general, am a big fan of that boon that we just took. Okay, now here... Hack has a chance to hit twice. Here's Magic Restoration, and it might very well be our last chance to do it. This also is our second to last chance to improve, to rarefy. I might take you and rarefy, because our cast is good, and making it larger would be quite useful.
Right.
I grow strong.
Okay, now this, if we get Magic Restoration, we're probably going to have to take it. Oh, hold on.
She was just chatting with Apollo, how not all of us are gifted with good looks and silver tongue and all. Got to work at something to be good at it. Like he couldn't imagine.
Oh, I can more than imagine, brother. Part of being talented is making things look easy. Take you and blacksmithing. For me, it's quite like that, but with a bunch of other things.
Context being that Apollo is, in addition to being god of light, god of a bazillion things, probably the god who has the most things that he is in charge of. So he's the guy who's just talented at absolutely everything. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I had to work too. Nah, I don't know about that. Oh, we haven't taken this yet, though. Your blast effects from Hephaestus clear days and deal more damage if they do. What is our days even coming from? This would be the Magic Restoration, so in a vacuum, this would probably be what we would usually go for. But I think days is just coming from our Revenge boon. I mean, that is going to happen at times, of course. But I will take it. Hopefully we're strong enough at this point that we still feel okay about what was maybe not the most optimal of boons to pick up in that final room. And then, sure, we'll get a little more armor while we're at it. It does mean we're walking into the final fight with what I think is now for the 3rd time going to be an Arachne dress. So, obviously, been there, done that. We have the achievement for it, but it is still kind of cool. And it does mean that we still have the quicker charge up of our Hex, which, given how we got the potentially counterproductive Chaos upgrade, it helps to cancel that out to a certain extent. At least when it comes to charging up the Hex.
Quick dip.
Using less magic, but charging up the Hex more quickly, they almost cancel each other out.
Refreshing.
So now, of course, we're wondering about the ending.
A change of clothes.
Indeed.
I know why you continue to return. You seek more than these conversations of ours, but also that mirror and those squalid chambers down the hall. The single artifact I could not budge, but it is useless without Night herself.
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is new. And it's trying to do something interesting, but it is suffering from many of the same mistakes that we've seen before. Kronos has identified a potential threat, a potential key tool that we are using, the mirror, and that is correct. That is, of course, one of the most important things that we are leaning upon to coordinate with Zagreus, and in doing so, set up our plan to defeat Kronos. So, that much is correct, and maybe it's reasonable to assume that Kronos could have come to that realization by himself. He didn't need to we don't need to see him investigate that room and that mirror to believe that he came to the conclusion that that could be an important thing that Melinoi is using. However, the single artifact I could not budge, where on earth is that coming from? Why can't he budge it? Is it too powerful for him to do so? Is there some other reason why he can't? Is it because it is technically an artifact of Nyx, Night herself, and that is why? Well, you say it's useless without Nyx, you don't say that it can only be moved with the assistance of Nyx, so it's just, again, it's these things that I appreciate that you're making an effort, but at the end of the day, it still feels sloppy. It feels kind of careless.
I'm not here for this house's former furnishings. You should know, you have at least one relative who would be most distraught if you're destroyed. You alone can prevent that. If you would end all this,
Okay, now this is interesting, because Malinois is very threateningly, but sort of attempting to make peace, saying, hey, if you're willing to stand down, we don't have to kill you.
Oh, I intend to, but we are far past the point of preventing the distress of this supposed relative to whom you refer. What was already done is done, and there's no turning back. Regrets be damned. That is the very nature of time.
I have mixed feelings about this line. The very end is clever. There is no turning back. That is the very nature of time. That is very clever. I like that. However, the first part feels like this is once again sort of brushing over what was potentially a very valid question that could have been interesting to explore, and yet you just kind of gave a very lame, surface-level excuse, and we're gonna just ignore that opportunity, because Malinois is saying, hey, there's a chance we could make peace, but Kronos says, oh, no chance. And that's it. No real explanation beyond that, so it just feels unsatisfying. So attempts are being made, but they're not great. We're gonna get a couple bursts of damage from Knuckle Bones and also from the Hades item as well. And collectively, oh, that was bad. Use resistance on that. We've wondered in the past if those really work together collectively or not, because we've theorized that maybe since Kronos has a shield that he always puts up, that's gonna be bad time to do that. Oh, I thought he should do that. Pillar. Since he does this and creates a shield when he gets to certain thresholds of health, we've wondered if maybe that means stacking those two wounds that automatically deal a burst of damage to him at the beginning of the encounter, if those don't work very well, because that means that he's basically going to end up resisting most of that damage. Because he stops at exactly once he's lost a quarter life, and then gets his shield. I mean, you can do the math and get exactly what the numbers are for how much damage those two wounds are supposed to combine to deal. But it would definitely be more than, that's getting very sloppy here. I'm like not even paying attention to what he's doing, and then I walk straight into that, except it's fine.
3, 2.
I'm gonna hit him with the Hex right. Do this, and then I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna do this. Oh, I was dodging. Thank you very much. I had the iframes. Also, why was he just standing there doing a whole lot of nothing? That was weird. Oh, I dodged the first part. See, he always does that combination of those two moves. And so you're kind of frozen in place. Kind of frozen in place for the first part, which makes it very likely he's going to hit you with the follow-up attack. Ow. But then I deliberately dodged in an attempt to avoid it, but I ended up still dodging into a place where he was going to hit me with it. And surely that dealt more damage than he was healing. No, these guys heal very quickly. Wow. Okay. This is very annoying. Which is the nature of this run. Oop, don't dash into that. This, and he always follows up with the Heller attack, which I still don't know how you're supposed to dodge that. I'm going straight into that. It's just a normal version now. That. Excuse me. Please don't do that. I see you coming. Oh, he's down. Okay, there we go.
Again you lay me low, and again you waste your time. I know what it is you seek.
Yeah, so the fact that he found the mirror would suggest, I mean, it's not like it's hidden, so you would think it wouldn't take that much effort for him to find it in the first place, but as we were saying before, he obviously identified that that is a potential tool that we are using to try to defeat him. But then you would think, with that he would be trying to find ways to destroy it or get rid of it. He said that for some unexplained reason, he can't move it, which seems, to be blunt, incredibly stupid. Yes, it's a magical mirror that is of the making of Nyx, but you provided no explanation as to why that prevented you from moving it or destroying it or tampering with it in some way that might prevent us from using it.
Of course you do. By now, I think we've each made our desires rather clear.
So, okay, we've basically, at this point, we've established both of us know what we're trying to do. Linui, at first, half-heartedly attempted to make peace with Kronos. Kronos gave basically no explanation, just said, no, because no. And so, it has to be war, it has to be death to one of us, basically. And so, Kronos now knows we're trying to defeat him permanently, he knows how we're trying to do it, and it's just a matter of, can he stop us, or can we stop him?
Then go, and take a good look in that mirror whilst you flail. And do hurry, for I shall never be gone for long.
Okay, now this is the first time that Kronos has sort of helped give some color to the whole point that Melinui makes oftentimes when we are speaking with Zagreus, where partway through the conversation, Melinui will say, oh, sorry, I need to rush Zagreus, I need to go because Kronos will be back soon, and you can hear the clock ticking in the background. And we always just, I mean, yeah, sure. I guess it's fair enough to assume that Kronos does we know that he regenerates, of course, because after we defeat him once, he comes back in time for the next run. But yeah, it's always also just felt a little bit sloppy with the execution, because at least some conversations go much longer than others, some end somewhat abruptly because of this sort of, oh, the conversation must end because plot. And it isn't until now that Kronos actually directly explains it, how it works. I mean, yes, it was all implied, but I don't know.
Shall not forget.
Trying to make sense out of things that don't really make a ton of sense, because there are lots of gaps and inconsistencies.
For the underworld.
That's the gist of it. And so we did get a new duo boon. I mean, I didn't really notice it that much, to be honest with you, but we got it. And that does help contribute toward a prophecy that we have not yet gotten. Then, I mean, I do think this is one of the weakest runs we've had for a very long time. Some of that, as I said, was because of the boons that we ended up taking or opting not to take. Some of that we didn't really have a lot of choice at the time. And in other cases, 2020 hindsight, yes, if we had known we were going to have a complete dearth of good options for attacks and specials, and to a certain extent even cast boons, then maybe we would have compromised and just settled for something weak earlier on. But if ever there was a run that made me wonder if we were actually going to be able to pull off even a zero fear run, it seems like as of late that's been kind of a given that we've been able to succeed on zero fear runs. This one had me wondering for a minute there.
More gemstones.
Was making me a little nervous. But I think this might have been the second to last run, at least when it comes to gathering resources for the first crafting recipe to reach the true endings. I think we still need one more, but we're getting quite close. And I guess we're seeing some signs of that for sure with the conversations that we just had with Kronos. To a certain extent, some of those things felt like they were a little bit out of order. I guess that's kind of what I was getting at with the whole Kronos only now revealing, it's not really a reveal because it was long assumed / implied that he eventually does regenerate enough so for us to no longer be able to speak to Zagreus in the other room. But it feels like that might have been better to have had that earlier on. Now, could you have had Kronos say something along those lines without him already having discovered that there was the mirror that we were using? I don't know, but it feels like that was a corner that they could have avoided writing themselves into, Supergiant. I think that's a lot of what is the cause of these sorts of issues, is there are a lot of corners that they wrote themselves into, and so they can try, as we've said many times before, to patch up some of the holes to make a little more sense leading up to it, but there are still some corners that they end up in where it's like, really shouldn't have been going in this direction in the first place. Or little bits and pieces that might have been paths along the way that just should have been removed because they stand out now that other things have been improved around them.
Again, to the abyss of the subconscious, I descend.
So it all just feels still kind of rushed, kind of sloppy, kind of careless, and if there was more time to think about the story holistically and knowing where you wanted to go with the story from the onset and planning around that rather than having little bits and pieces of ideas of what you wanted to do, I think that also probably is one of the reasons why the story seems to jump all over the place chaotically, not always make a ton of sense, not always that consistent.
Once more, night and darkness guide
We'll see where things go here.
beyond the grasp of time.
Because last time we spoke to Zagreus, I think it was a new conversation, potentially altogether, in which it seemed like Malinui was being more downright evil than ever before. And there were some signs of some additions along those lines in the earlier runs. It felt like it was small enough and that it was almost like an accident from the developers. I noticed it. I might have occasionally brought it up, but it didn't feel like it was structured enough, intentional enough to really be building up toward an actual full-blown Malinui is evil ending. But then with the previous run, it sort of jumped, it went and made a huge leap in that direction. So it does seem like that is where we are headed, but we'll see if that was just one conversation with Zagreus that stands out as a bit of an aberration, or if that is a trend that continues here.
Oh, my dream, she says. Well, come on then. This is hardly what I'd call a haunting. Just standing around waiting to be haunted. It's mildly foreboding at best. Nowhere near the unnerving sensation one would expect.
Alright.
Wait.
Hello there.
Oh, hi, sister. Back to haunt my dreams some more. I didn't like where we left off, arguing over our relatives and our duty. Besides, Father always says no fighting in this house.
Does he really?
I didn't feel good about it either, and I couldn't help thinking about what you said. I know you were being honest with me about your concerns. All this must be so much to take in.
Believe me, I'm absorbing it as quickly as I can. We have this sinister grandfather who's resorted to all-out war against the rest of the family. One way or another, he needs to be stopped.
Okay, so I do like this a lot. Basically an acknowledgement that, hey, Malinui went really far with the last conversation. Yes, she has a point. We're putting it plainly here, which I also like. Our grandfather has resorted to all-out war against the rest of the family. That is our main issue with him. Now, of course, there's an argument to be made that the gods and goddesses being in charge would probably still be at war with one another, because they're not exactly the peaceful sort. So how much more evil is Kronos? There's a debate to be had there, but okay, I can at least accept that as our main rationale for being mad at Kronos. There are still some questions based on just how much worse he is than the rest of the gods and goddesses in charge, that maybe he's not deserving of being permanently deleted. And so that is where Zagreus is coming from. And it seems like Malinui and Zagreus are kind of trying to meet in the middle here, which is very much the sort of thing that we were missing.
That's right. And I've been trained in how to stop him, though unfortunately it requires you to do some of the dirty work. The worst of it, in fact. I can understand why you would be reluctant.
So what do we do? Say we proceed as planned. I get Gygaros to you, you do something to it. I use it to destroy Kronos in my time before he takes control in yours. Then everything would be alright.
So they're actually trying to understand each other, their concerns, potential issues that they're raising, rather than just getting mad and walking away, or rather than just the conversation ending, or dismissing the conversation and not diving into that level of detail, which we just haven't seen in maybe any other conversation. This might be the only time in the entire game when we've seen this type of thing happen. So this is sorely lacking elsewhere. That's big. And then also now we're talking about a little bit more, or at least Zagreus is starting to lean a little bit more into the whole, okay, so what happens when we do ultimately defeat Kronos? Because we've brought that question up, but that's one of the ones that very often just turns into, hey, that's a really interesting question, but we're not gonna explore that at all.
Well, I assume so, yes. We can't anticipate exactly what shall happen in a world without time, but it's existed in that state before, and can't be worse than letting him prevail.
Okay, and that, if we hadn't previously had a conversation with Chaos in which Chaos had stated, hey, by the way, time didn't always exist. I created the world, and the world did exist before Kronos. So this concept of there being such a thing as a world without time is a little easier to grasp given that context. Technically, that was an optional conversation, as I was saying before with Hades and other people who might have made comments about the main plot that were technically optional conversations. It's kind of strange for there to be a somewhat critical component of the main plot that is only coming from an optional conversation. I mean, yes, it's only sort of indirectly related to this, I suppose, so maybe that's still okay. But for that, given that we do have that context, I think, this is a little more understandable that Malinui is taking this approach and saying, hey, maybe we can deal with this. She's acknowledging it, which is already more than we've seen almost any other time. And then that can't be worse than letting him prevail. We absolutely have never seen that before. That is the key thing that's been missing.
But if Kronos is gone, what happens to you? You're here because of everything he did.
No. If Kronos hadn't taken Father's throne, we'd be together as a family. He denied me a father, a mother, a three-headed dog. You. And some evening he'll deny you that and more if we don't act.
Okay. It's just, it turns out I have a sister and I don't want to lose her over this is all.
I don't want to lose you either, Zagreus. I want you back. You and all the rest.
Well then, I'd better get you Father's spear. I'll have it for you next we meet. I promise.
Okay, and this very minor, this little part right here, but honestly, very good as well, because remember in the original true ending, Malinui just asked Zagreus to get the spear, and next time he showed up, he was like, okay, here's the spear. It's like, all right, that happened very quickly. So for there to be now several conversations between Malinui asking for the spear and ultimately Zagreus providing it and him saying, okay, I've had all my concerns. We've aired that out. We've come to a compromise. Next time, I'll make sure that I get it for you. It just makes it feel much more natural and much less jumpy.
Thanks, brother. Leave Gygaros in your chambers for me, and we'll go from there. For all our sakes.
And we also didn't know where the spear was going to show up at the time. We weren't sure if he was going to hand it to us through the mirror somehow, or if it was going to show up next to the bed. So even this little line here from Malinui saying, leave it in your chambers. Also important. Small, subtle, but important.
From mists of memory, return to shadow now.
So collectively, across those various things that we just heard in that conversation, I think that is the single best,
that's a bit more like it,
or at least the single most important conversation we've ever had in Hades 2. That right there is what we've been missing. Now, in and of itself, it did a lot of work. Would we have benefited from getting a little bit more of that earlier? Maybe from other people as well? Maybe still some future conversations that are similar to that one just then? Probably, but that was a huge improvement. That is the single best addition that they have had for the true new ending by leaps and bounds. So that's the kind of thing that I was really hoping to see that they would add, and hadn't really gotten it until just then. But I'm glad that we do get it.
Be coming around. Perhaps I am. There has to be a way.
And it was interesting. I mean, Malinui was coming in evil, threatening last time round. And so they did meet in the middle, Zagreus and Malinui. I'm surprised how quickly Malinui did. Because, I mean, Zagreus was pretty consistent in what his issues were. Malinui was just kind of getting ever increasingly angry with each passing conversation with Zagreus and reaching a boiling point in the previous conversation. So I think the more surprising thing was not Zagreus compromising in that conversation. It was more so Malinui.
There you are.
Kronos, is this what he wants? His family back? Odd way of showing it.
Right, that doesn't make sense. There very much are still things that are inconsistent, and there are still some gaps that need to be filled, or that should have been filled. But the conversation we just had with Zagreus is still quite good. Very, very good.
The fates would have me do their bidding.
No updates here. Well, we did get slight progress toward one of the prophecies for the duo boons. Okay, neither you nor nor Dora had anything particularly important to say to us in theory. But you do have an exclamation point above your head, and we have been trying to gift to Eris. May be open to a visit the fishing pier if you offer. We tried doing this last time. It would actually, rather than being the fishing pier, we just tried gifting her a normal nectar, which was strange. We were wondering why the game was allowing us to do it, and maybe it was because she rejected us.
You're really getting under Nemi's skin lately. Saw her run out in a huff, clanky clank, not long after talking to you. What'd you say that got her so worked up? I'll have to add it to my arsenal.
I wouldn't know. We've discussed my task from time to time, and she's interested in helping out however she can. I think she's just very determined to see our plans succeed.
I hear you. Fine. A witch never reveals her tricks, something like that. Well, just watch yourself with Sis, is all I'll say. She won't let anybody get too far ahead.
Yeah, I believe that.
She sure won't.
Yep. Alright, now let's try doing this.
How about we head down to the fishing pier a bit? Not like it's far out of the way or anything, and it's a change of pace.
Alright, it is right next to us. Also, I am curious how this plays out.
Sure, I'm easy, babe. Except when I'm not, but right now I could go for anything. Even stand around for fish to bite.
Yeah, that doesn't really seem like Eris's cup of tea.
Know what I hate more than just about anything else? Having to be perfectly quiet while standing perfectly still. What have I done to deserve this torture?
Right, why did she agree to do this in the first place?
I know it's difficult, which is part of the reason to do it from time to time. Just concentrate on being who you are and being here. A fishing pier isn't strictly required.
Being focused in on the moment? Come on. How can you not always be doing that? At least in other moments I'd be doing what I want, not caving to your every demand.
If you don't find anything worthwhile in this, you don't have to do it again. But since we're here, why not find out if we can catch something?
All you are gonna catch is my fist in your face if you keep on mouthing off to me, babe.
Ouch.
Wait, shut up. Think I just saw something swim by. Know how much faster this would go if I could use the rail?
Shoot the fish.
There! Wait.
Oh.
Oh, you
She almost got me. I was like, oh, is that deliberately the longest fishing encounter ever? Had to wait for the fish for an eternity?
Babe,
False
I
positive
had a
as well?
totally amazing time, I swear. And you don't stink at all.
Eris?
Nor do you.
Nor do you. Wait, we got an extra fish from that? It just showed us another fish. Is that always the case, or is that only in that particular fishing encounter? Because obviously, we have, on at least one prior occasion, failed the fishing minigame on the fishing encounter, I think our very first time. Let's take this.
On time.
And I think I did the math a little while ago. I thought, did we need one more of these, or do we now have just enough? I think we might have needed 7 nightmare total. Wait, I think it's only one weapon aspect we need. I mean, we could just go back and double check. I guess maybe I'll go do that. But let's.
You know how late it is?
Let's talk with other people first. A curiosity. Not enough time this night to invite Hecate to an outing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Zagreus and I finally reached an understanding. He knows what needs to be done. But I wanted to ask you something, Headmistress. With Kronos in the past, there's truly no other course but to destroy him.
Okay, now this is another key question. Another key conversation that we were saying really needed to be had. And I was wondering if/when it would happen with Hecate, because, as I was saying before, Hecate, in this conversation right here, this is optional. We could have just completely ignored her, and we would have never heard this. So it's kind of tough from a developer perspective. Can you put something critically important right here, right now? Well, it seems like the answer is yes.
Oh, blood and darkness. He's got to you, hasn't he? Your brother, at least, if not Kronos himself. Why are you asking me such things when you have come so close to the completion of your task, Malinois?
Right, but do the ends justify the means? Because basically you're saying, oh, you're so close, just ignore the whole part where you commit murder. It's still murder.
Well, for one, we're on the verge of destroying time itself. For all you've taught me, I've never fully understood the repercussions this would have.
Okay, yes, more on this.
We cannot know such repercussions ere they come to pass. Our charge, your charge, is to stop Kronos, whatever it takes. I trust you shall require no additional reminders.
Okay, now this makes me mad again. This is the problem that we've had in many of the other situations, and why I liked the conversation with Zagreus, because we didn't get some lame excuse as to why we couldn't talk about that, or why we had to stop talking about the important stuff. But Hecate, she did it last time we had a conversation like this, and she's doing it again. Bringing up a really important conversation. It's really timely. It's really relevant. She's passed on it several times before, or given us lame answers before, and she's doing it again here. You cannot know such She just says, oh, we could never know what happens if we destroy time. What are you talking about? We've learned from Chaos that it has existed before. Malinui just said that that has happened before, a world with no time. So why is that not something that we can consider? And now it feels more like, okay, Hecate is just being blind and reckless, and I mean, her tone of voice is not what we saw on the previous run from Malinui, but the things she's saying are kind of evil.
None.
She's basically saying, shut up and do your job. Never mind the fact that your job is something that is inherently very immoral and evil. Okay, but let's just double check. Because, yeah, we have enough Zodiac Sand for this recipe here. Now, of course, this also requires 1 Zodiac Sand, so I think that means that our next run in the Underworld, we are expecting to be the last one we need for resource collecting purposes, and then we're gonna likely go back up to the surface to get the final Typhon defeat, and then after that, the final Kronos defeat, and that will be the true new ending. So we had a lot of things happen on this run to progress the plot, with Zagreus in particular, and then other things that were a little more peripheral, like that conversation with Hecate right there, which, as I said, almost did the types of things that we wanted to see, and then
break, I guess.
Then it just did a complete 180, which is really frustrating. It's Hecate in particular who, as of late, has been letting us down with the writing.
Have the old knuckle bones been of some use, goddess? Must look a little worn, but brought me fortune many times in games of chance and when my life was on the line.
We did just use them in the previous round. Now, that is his keepsake. I don't know, maybe this is just blind optimism, but I'm wondering if this is going to lead to us learning about the thing that ultimately lets us spend more time with Odysseus and actually progress our relationship with him. Because we've been at a standstill on that front for so long now.
Odysseus, if they were dear to you all through your life, why would you give them to me now? No matter how useful they still may be, which is quite a bit.
Come now, nothing would please me more than for you to succeed. If some small token of my past could be of benefit, it's yours. Besides, I got a nectar bottle in exchange.
Besides, you bribed me.
It wasn't meant to be a trade.
Just keep the blasted bones.
All right.
Congratulations.
Icarus.
One moment. Oh, once again, as I always forget to do, technically speaking, it would have been nice to have planted stuff first, but we don't have that many things to plant, and we don't really need to get any of these resources, so, we'll be fine. Just if you're truly trying to optimize your planting, then would have done that first. And nothing new there. You do not have an exclamation point above your head, which does surprise me, because you are not usually here. So I would have thought that you being here meant there was a specific conversation we were supposed to have.
Was hoping you'd stop by and say hello. See you again out there one of these nights?
Yes, just that. It would be an opportunity to gift to him. We were trying to make a point of progressing our relationship with him as well. Oh, we have... Actually, how many nectars do we have right now? It's a lot. It's 8? Yeah, I don't know. There are probably still other people that we're prioritizing more than him. Maybe we have enough nectar at this point that we can kind of just dish it out when and wherever we want. Oh, there's also no nemesis. I didn't even realize that. Okay, I do want to check, though, how many nightmare we need exactly, because that may dictate what we do with our next Charon shipment and or purchases from the Wretched Broker. So it's this that we need. And, I mean, we might as well just upgrade it now. In fact, I think we do already have enough. I think we just need 5 in total. Because this costs 2, and that's the second to last level.
Such power hides within.
And this is the last level. It costs 3, so we actually have 1 nightmare to spare. That sounds like that should be the name of a band or an album or a song or something. Someone get on that. Alright, I don't think there's any achievement or prophecy or anything like that for maxing out every aspect, but I guess we're about to find out.
Staff of Dusk, Staff of the Dead.
Anything? Doesn't seem like it. Just do a quick double check. I think everything is rank 5 and grayed out, meaning that we can no longer upgrade it. Yeah. There you go. We technically do still have a potential use for Nightmare.
Is it time for a new look?
This. But we probably would rather focus now on upgrading our last few Arcana cards, which we might have enough Moondust to do.
So that's it.
Okay, but that costs Shadow, which we don't have, although we could craft it.
I see it
Learning
now.
a little bit more about what our needs are.
I see.
I do have the stuff for that. You definitely have Darkness.
Improved.
Okay. And now it just means that Shadow's the only thing we need, and we just barely do have enough dust, moon dust. So, or magic dust, whichever one it is, I always forget. That means if we go here, this is a decent time to do... Oh. Hold on. We don't need to buy any Nightmare per se, at least. Cash in a bunch of fish.
Fair trade.
That Voidscape. Wow, look at how valuable that is. That's a lot of bones. So we don't need to get you, but we need at least a little bit of these. So that we can do this.
Become as new.
That'll take a little bit of time, but that's fine. I don't think we need anything else yet. We will very soon need to do more things, though. And it means we're in a strange place where we kind of don't need anything in particular here. I mean, we might just take Nightmare for the sake of taking Nightmare. I don't know in a vacuum which one is best. I mean, it's the rarest of the resources, but I don't know if 2 Nightmare versus 8 Moondust. I mean, it does affect the delivery time as well. Like, what are we trying to optimize for? The prestige returns, or the kudos, rather. It's probably still Nightmare that's most efficient there, although it might be Moondust. But given how it does give us at least the option of using those new forms, those super rare forms on the familiars, I guess we might as well do that. And then that means our bones, we also don't have a ton of use cases for those anymore outside of just buying these resources, and we can only get 1 per run, so I guess I'm going to take all that, even the Ambrosia, which is probably overkill, but like this stuff, yeah, we can no longer afford the Stardust. If I'd done it in a slightly different order, I would have, but I don't know that we are in desperate need of that either. So it might be that we're at the point where most of the crafting resources, even the rare ones, don't really do us much good anymore, which is, I suppose, a sign that we are, of course, getting very close to doing everything that we've set out to do. Thank you, Skelly. No particular conversation to be had with him, though. So I think that means we are just about done here, and we did have a very meaningful conversation with Zagreus. That was the big thing. It just did all the things that we wanted to see in the new true ending, and as we saw with the conversation with Hecate, it was new, but it was not necessarily any better. It kind of teased us, making us think it was going to be an improvement, but then it just kind of pulled the chair out from under us. Unfortunately, there have still been a number of things along those lines. Still some gaps that ideally we would have liked to have seen filled in with more useful information, but nonetheless, I do still think this was the single biggest improvement that we have seen to the ending with that new update. But do need to wrap things up here, so thank you all for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.